Okay, we're live. Bueno, hola a todos, yo soy Clau y aquí estoy con la autora Elizabeth Eulberg. Estamos a punto de hablar de todos los libros que tengo por aquí. Y pues como introducción nomás les quiero decir que yo los leí el mes pasado y me gustaron demasiado. No esperaba que me gustaran tanto y estoy muy contenta de estar aquí con la autora presentando el Hangout y tengo ya muchísimas preguntas listas para decirles a todos ustedes. Y antes de empezar con las preguntas, nada más quería decirles que al final de este Hangout, en Twitter, en el Twitter de Penguin Random House, me gusta leer México, vamos a estar teniendo un giveaway, vamos a regalar los 3 libros, la colección de 3 libros que están publicados en México, por si les interesa ganárselos, te esperan a que se acabe el Hangout y pues van al Twitter y ya van a poder participar. Y por ahora, ya voy a cambiar a inglés para poder empezar con las preguntas y para que Elizabeth se pueda presentar. So, hi Elizabeth!
Hello, hola, hello. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, me too, and I'm sure everyone is so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this hangout with us.
Oh, thank you so much. And for my lovely Spanish-speaking readers who I love so much, I am so sorry that I'm speaking English. Mi español es muy mal, so I will do my best to speak slowly. So yes.
Okay. I was telling the people at Penguin Random House that we have more than 30 questions, like 32. So I think it's better if we jump up right to the questions.
Okay, yes, let's do it.
Okay, so the first question is asked by Sylvia Herondale, and she wants to know, how did you came up with the idea of the Lonely Hearts Club? What inspired you?
It was a friend that inspired me. She's that friend who was like Diane at the start of the book, who would only hang out with me if she wasn't dating a guy, and I was out. I know she was out with me one night because she didn't have a boyfriend, and she was ignoring me because guys were talking to her, and I started thinking, this is silly. I have amazing single girlfriends. Why am I hanging out with her when I should spend every Saturday night with girls who are happy to be single and are fun? And all of a sudden I thought that would be a really great idea for a book. And since she was ignoring me, by the end of the night, I already knew it was going to be called the Lonely Hearts Club. And, and yeah, because I was just like, well, it has to have a good name. And yeah, so it all started from that. She and I are no longer friends, which shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. But I'm very grateful to her for that idea.
Yeah, it's a really great idea. I was so impressed with that. I was like, that's clever.
Thanks. I wish I would have thought of that when I was in high school.
Me too.
I know. Would have saved me so much time and heartache.
Yes. Okay, so the second question is asked by Ellie Dimas, and she wants to know, if the Lonely Hearts Club had existed when you were Penny's age, would you have joined?
Oh, yes. A second. Yeah. And when I was in high school, I was so concerned about like we'd have dances in the United States. There are big dances like prom and homecoming and these dances, and I was always just so concerned about like, would I have a date and certain things, which really at the end of the day isn't that big of a deal, especially when you're 16 and 17. So I totally would have been a member. Yes, I would have, very enthusiastically.
You think you will be the founder of the club or just a member?
I would have loved to have thought of it back then. I would have been the founder.
Yeah.
I totally would have been the founder. Yeah. I mean, please, even now I think I need to start a club.
Yeah. Okay, so Diana Itzel and Kata Kat want to know, why the Beatles? Do you love their music as much as Penny does?
The Beatles I love the Beatles, huge Beatles fan. Oh, wait, this is my opportunity to show you the water glass, drinking Beatles. Then I'm putting down my Beatles coaster. I love the Beatles. Penny and her parents are out there, but when I came up with the title, The Lonely Hearts Club, I knew I wanted the Beatles to somehow be involved. And fun fact, originally I thought, well, wouldn't it be funny if there were only 4 members of the Lonely Hearts Club and they were named Paula, Georgette, Jonathan, and I couldn't think of what Ringo could be as a girl's name. Yeah, I was like, Ringo wouldn't work, and I thought, well, Rita, and I thought, well, why don't I just have a girl named after a Beatles song and have it come from there? So I remember I was in New York City in Washington Square Park, which has this famous arch, right when I thought of, I'm going to have the main character's name be Penny Lane, because I love that song. So yeah, so but then just it all came from there that Penny's parents were going to be huge Beatles fans. So it kind of grew from that, and doing all the research I had to do, which was really fun, watching the Beatles anthologies and reading books about the Beatles.
And the sisters also have names of the songs.
Yes, Lucy and Rita made me become even a bigger Beatles fan. So yes, I've seen Sir Paul McCartney 4 times in concert.
Whoa!
Yeah, and I just saw Ringo last year, so that was fun.
That's awesome. Okay, so Andrea Hernandez wants to know, when did you come up with the idea to write We Can Work It Out? Did you plan to write the sequel since the beginning?
So when I finished writing Lonely Hearts Club, which was back in that book Lonely Hearts Club took me over 5 years to write. Yeah, I just was in and out of I was working full-time at the time, not as a writer, so I didn't have a lot of time, and yeah, so it took me 5 years. So when I finished writing it in 2009, I knew that I wanted to continue with the characters. I knew that there made sense for there to be a sequel, but we needed to wait and see how the book did. And other book projects kind of took me away from it. So finally, after I finished Better Off Friends, I thought, okay, it's been a while. If I'm going to write a sequel, it has to be now, because I can't wait much longer. And so I knew I had an outline. I had a page written about what was going to happen in that book, which pretty much everything did happen that I said would. But yeah, I knew that since about a year after that book, that Lonely Hearts Club came out. I knew it was going to happen.
Okay, thank you. Now, Oscar Hernandez wants to know, of the songs you used in both of the books, which one is your favorite, and why did you pick the songs you used?
Oh, that's so hard. It's hard for me to pick a favorite Beatles song. Like I really have a hard time because I love them so much. I think that, oh goodness, I don't know. So I picked the songs based on so I have over here, I have a huge Beatles book that is every song they've ever recorded. And I just looked at their titles, and I made certain rules for myself to make my life harder. I didn't want to change, I didn't want to change any of the lyrics. So anytime they said, they're talking about girls, but Penny's thinking about guys. So, she loves you wouldn't work because, Penny, it just wouldn't work. So I just kind of would pick songs that I thought would fit, and then I looked to see if there were lyrics that would fit with it. The original draft of Lonely Hearts Club, all those years ago, every chapter title was a song title, and then a lyric weaved in, and then in the editing that didn't work, which I'm grateful, because I would never have been able to get away with the sequel.
It's divided in parts, right?
Yeah.
Every song, it's like part 1, part 2, part 3.
Yeah, so that's what I decided to do that. So I think my favorite, I know, it's so hard. For the first book, Revolution just means a lot to me because every time I finished writing a draft, I would dance around my apartment listening to that song. So even now when I hear those guitar riff, I think, about being done with the draft. And then I think for We Can Work It Out, I have to say We Can Work It Out. That song and In My Life mean a lot to me, especially In My Life. I think that is a really amazing song and fits really well with Penny and her struggle.
I think it fits too. Okay, so Andrea Velasquez wants to know, why is Macallan in the party that the club throws and we can work it out?
Oh yes, okay. So I
was surprised to see her there.
It's okay. It's okay. I probably should write something to just clarify that it is completely okay that Macallan is there, because the Lonely Hearts Club is not about not dating anymore. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Spoiler alert for those who haven't read the first book. But when I started working on We Can Work It Out, it was a sequel to my first book, and I had written at that point 5 other books that had been published in the United States. And I realized that where Better Off Friends takes place and where Lonely Hearts Club takes place is really not that far away from each other. It's about an hour, hour and a half.
I didn't know.
Yeah, Milwaukee and Chicago are pretty close to each other. So I thought, like, the Lonely Hearts Club is spreading more to their area, and I thought, wouldn't it be funny if I had Macallan and Danielle show up to the Lonely Hearts Club?
Yeah, I was so impressed. I was, what is she doing here?
Yeah, it was. I just put it in as a little nod to the readers and thought they would enjoy that.
Crossover.
There are little nods to all of my books in there. Some of them more obvious than others, but that one's that's the big one.
Yeah, because the name is there.
Yes, but everything's okay in Macallan's life. I don't want to give anything away regarding Better Off Friends, but
everything's okay.
Yeah, she's there solely to support Danielle. So.
Okay. I like this question. Damaris Lopez asks, what girl of the Lonely Hearts Club do you think will be your best friend and why?
Oh, best friend. Well, I love Penny. You gotta love Penny.
Tracy? I love Tracy.
Yeah, Tracy is very much my sarcastic side, and I feel like in We Can Work It Out, Tracy really comes alive. My editor said to me that he thought she stole every scene she was in. It was just really fun to write her. Tracy is a very fierce and loyal friend and is funny, and so I think I had her be Penny's best friend for a reason, because she's the kind of friend that I think everybody should have.
So your best friend will be Penny?
Penny and Tracy. I mean, can I pick two?
Both.
I mean, I feel like Penny's very much me, so in a lot of ways. I don't have a Ryan, though. But,
me neither. I want Ryan.
I just had a friend read We Can Work It Out this weekend, and she texted me like, oh, I love Ryan. And I was like, I know. I really need to stop writing these awesome guys because they make real men just really...
I would have loved to have a boyfriend as Ryan in high school. It would be perfect.
I would take Ryan now.
Yeah, me too. But your book reminded me so much of when I was in high school. That was a long while ago. Like 8 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, no, I won't get into how old I am, but it's been a
while. Okay. So the next question is asked by Hector, and he said, can we expect a third book of the Lonely Hearts Club?
I don't think so. I'm sorry. So I will say this. In writing We Can Work It Out, I did set it up that if I was to write a third book, and that's not out of the question, if I was to write a third book, it wouldn't be through Penny's point of view, and I feel like I made it kind of clear in the book who would take over. Just because when you write books, like, with Lonely Hearts Club, and a lot of people ask me about writing a sequel to Better Off Friends, when you write a sequel to a book, everybody thinks they want like 200-300 pages of these people being really happy, but that's not an interesting read. So,
yeah, we need drama.
Yeah. So there's a lot of drama in We Can Work It Out. There was a lot.
Yeah.
Penny, made some mistakes. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I was like, Penny.
Yeah. No, even writing it, I was like, what are you doing, girl? What are you doing? I was crying a lot, being like, oh, I'm so mad at her.
Poor Ryan.
I know, poor Ryan. So, there's only so much drama you can put two people through. So if there was a third, it would not be from Penny's point of view. So
that's interesting. But you have like little sequels in between, right?
Yes. So I wrote, thank you for asking, I did 3 little short stories. And I think they're only in English.
Yeah.
But they're really easy they're not long. But what I'll do is after this, I will tweet a link to read them. They're free online. They're,
that's awesome.
Yeah. They're free online. They're little e-shorts. Because there was so much time between the first and second book coming out, we decided to do 3 little short stories. There's one that's Halloween is Halloween something there? Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yes, we
There's a
have.
Halloween themed. There is, again, not to spoil Lonely Hearts Club, but there's 2 characters' first dates. I won't say who. I feel like a lot of people have probably read Lonely Hearts Club, but I won't say who, but, you know.
Okay, okay.
And then the third one is the holidays. So you see Penny have the Christmas and New Year's with her parents, the club, someone else, wink, wink, and New Year's. So that's fun. So I will post the link because they're free to read online.
Okay, thank you. Cynthia Villalobos says, is Penny inspired in a person you know? Can you tell us how you created her?
Did who? Penny?
Yeah, Penny.
She kind of came through problems that I've had. So all the horrible dating stories in Lonely Hearts Club that all the members share actually happened to either me or friends of mine. And I was storing them up for years. So I have one friend in particular who told me this story. It's the one where, I don't know how this translated, but it's the one where a guy went up to her in the cafeteria and said, roses are red, violets are blue, garbage has been dumped, and now so have you. And she told me that years ago, and I was like, that's awful. I'm totally going to use that in the book. So when I finally knew Lonely Hearts Club was going to be a thing, I had to tell her, which she laughed at, being like, I told you that years ago. I'm like, I know, I kept it here. But Penny, in a way, is very much me in terms of just being very loyal to her friends and trying to have a good sense of what's important. I wish I was as confident as her sometimes, and I wish I would have thought of the club. But yeah, she kind of just came from certain things, but a lot, since it was my first book, a lot of me went in it. Like a lot of parts of Penny are me, and as I said, Tracy has that snarky side of me that I have. But yeah, she came from just different things that have happened to me. But all the Beatles stuff was just from the character. My parents are not huge Beatles fans. They like them, but they're not huge fans. So that all was just fiction.
Okay, so I'm going to translate some of what you said to the fans. Yes. Okay, Elizabeth nos está contando que Penny fue inspirada en muchas cosas, pero lo que más me causó gracia fue que dijo que una amiga le contó que un chavo la cortó diciéndole el poema de las rosas son rojas, las violetas azules, la basura se tira y ahora tú también. Entonces ella se ofendió mucho, con razón, y por eso como que se le ocurrió el personaje y se le ocurrió toda la idea y me dio mucha risa. Y dice que también Tracy fue creada por su parte sarcástica y todo eso. Y pues sí, voy a tratar de traducir algunas respuestas que dé, pero no muchas porque hay muchas preguntas que hacerle a Elizabeth. Y otra vez voy a poner a hablar en inglés. Okay, so we are back in English.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, that was great. Thank you for doing that.
No, it's okay. Thank you. I got lost here. Indy Naomi wants to know, do you have any advice for girls that are in a similar situation to Penny at the beginning of the Lonely Hearts Club?
Yeah, I'm currently single right now, ladies. I get it.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, so here's the funny thing is that usually when I'm doing events or speaking, it's mostly girls. But I have noticed a lot of my Spanish readers are guys, so I have to be, nice. But this is what I have to say. It really is not fun to have your heart broken, and it can be really upsetting. And I feel for you, anybody who's going through a breakup and feel that they've been used. I have been there. I know a lot of people have been there. And you think, like, it's not going to get better. But the days pass, and you just start feeling a little bit more like yourself every time. So what I find to be the best solution for heartbreak is just to hang out with your friends, do something you enjoy, listen to music, dance if you're frustrated, just do whatever you feel you need to do. I feel like friends and family can be the best solution to a breakup. So hang in there and form your own Lonely Hearts Club. I have heard from a lot of readers who have, and I think it's the greatest thing ever. So if you do that, tweet at me, Facebook me, let me know, because you will be my hero.
Sorry for going. I heard everything you said, but I have to open the door. They were knocking, and nobody was answering, and I was like, ah!
Oh, no, it's totally fine. I saw you leave, so I was like, I'm going to talk longer.
No. I heard everything you said, and I was like, hurry, sorry.
No, it's totally fine.
Okay, so on to the next question, asked by Rocío Cantú, and she says, what is the message you intended to give when you wrote We Can Work It Out?
You know, We Can Work It Out, I wrote about balance, because we all have so much stuff going on in our life, and I talk about this with my friends a lot, is I have a lot going on right now, and I'm writing 3 different books right now. I know, it's just not, that was maybe not my smartest decision, but no, I'm excited. But, you know, I have my work, I have my friends, and I love to go to concerts, and I work out, and and we talk about, like, making room for someone. And when you meet someone, we're all very busy, especially people in school now. I don't know, like, every time I go to a high school or I talk to teenagers, they have so many things that they have to do with school and sports and other activities and work and homework. It's hard to fit that person in. So I kind of was trying to think about what happens when you're a really busy person, you have all these amazing things in your life, and you need to now make room for someone else. Like, at some point, something's got to give. And it's kind of making a choice about how you're going to balance it all. So I don't want to give anything away, so I'll leave it at that.
But I think the message is quite clear.
Oh, good.
I understood it that way.
Oh, good.
I think it's clear.
Oh, thank you.
And this is my personal question. It's because Penny's parents are my favorite characters. Oh, and I wanted to know, how did you come up with the idea of them? And I mean, because they're such hardcore fans of the Beatles. And I was like, I love how crazy they were sometimes. And I wanted to know, how did you come up with the idea of them being so intense?
So when I decided that I was going to name a girl after a Beatles song, I knew that her parents would have to be huge Beatles fans. And so, so it was one of those that I was like, and I wanted her to be Penny Lane, because her name is not just Penny. It's not Penelope. Her name is Penny Lane. And so I think most of the time her parents refer to her as Penny Lane. It's very rare for them to just call her Penny, because to them that's her name, not Penny. And so I just kind of thought about who would be these people. And in the very beginning of the book, when I was writing and figuring out the parents, and I started writing about how they met, and they met at a John Lennon concert, and I mean, sorry, not a concert, at a shrine for when he died, and then thinking about them, and the mom is very hyper.
Yeah, I love her.
Yeah, and so I just thought, like, you'd have this mom who's just really into it, and as I kept writing about her crazy mom, it just made me laugh, and so I wanted to have more of that. I like to write funny things, and anytime her mom came up, and in the second book, when instead of saying, "Oh my God," she says, "Oh my Sir Paul," like I just, I know, when I wrote that, I was like, oh, I just thought, sometimes I crack myself up. I was like, that's amazing.
They made me laugh so much.
One of my things that I'm so happy that I did, not even realizing I was doing it at the time, but in the first book, at the very end, when she's talking about, like, what she's doing over the Christmas break, she makes a joke about buying a wedding dress, and I wanted there to be a joke. That's the only reason why it's there, because her sister's getting married, and that's the only reason, again, that it's just there for the joke purpose. So then when I knew I was writing the sequel, I thought, oh my goodness, the parents throwing a wedding, this could just like, I'm so
the family picture.
Oh yeah, it just, I just, and that part just, I was picking myself up. I just thought, oh my goodness, and then they can do the White Album finally, and but it was just a little throwaway line in the first book, which made me so happy, because then I knew that I could have the wedding. So just the thought of having the blooms, pretty much any time they showed up, it was just to, make me laugh.
And can you relate to them? I mean, are you a fangirl of something?
Yeah, I can fangirl pretty hard. I mean, I am like, when I see Paul McCartney in concert, I'm like crying. And I saw him twice in a month. I flew to Wisconsin. I didn't think he was coming to New York, so I just got tickets to where I thought, yeah, that was just crazy. But I do get really excited. I'm a fangirl. Like, I love the Hunger Games. I went to a midnight party for the book.
The premieres of the movies.
Oh yeah, I went to when the third book came out. I went to the launch party. All right, I'm going to name drop, but I know Suzanne Collins.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I used to, years ago, before the Hunger Games, I was her publicist. So when the event came out, I went to, I saw her, and I've seen her a few times. And I've known her for so long, so I try not to freak out. But I may have, while she was working on Mockingjay, been, talking to her and be like, please tell me Peter's going to be okay. No, I know you already made up your mind, but Peter's going to be okay, isn't he? Please, no. And she's just on the phone being like, I can't answer your question. Let me tell you, everybody, I put up a good fight for Peter to be okay. So, I'll take credit.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, no, but I do get really excited about things, and my mom's a very excitable person and enthusiastic, so I get that from her.
I'm going to translate some of that.
Of course.
Okay. Le pregunté a Elizabeth si se había inspirado en algo para los zapatos de Penny, y me contó que ella es una gran fangirl, y específicamente de los Juegos del Hambre. Y da la casualidad de que ella era la publicista de Susan Collins cuando estaba escribiendo los libros, y antes de que saliera el tercer libro, Elizabeth estaba rogando a Susan Collins que no le fuera a hacer nada a Pira, porque es sin Pira. Entonces, como nosotros, hay que agradecerle mucho que Pira esté a salvo. Y pues sí, nada más quería comentar eso, que como nosotros, Elizabeth es una gran fan de los Hunger Games.
Yeah. I love that, because I understand some. Pira is international.
Can you say something in Spanish?
Sure. I'm trying to think. So when I get put on the spot, I get nervous. But I can.
Sorry.
No, ¿de dónde está la biblioteca? No, I can.
That's an important question.
Yes. I've been to Spanish-speaking countries before, and I always try. I try my best. I always try to order food in Spanish, and I enjoy mi queso. I like queso. Yes, and so I can order things, and maybe every once in a while I'll throw something in. We'll see.
Okay, on to the next question, asked by Gabby Juarez. How did you come up with the idea of Better Off Friends? What inspired you?
So Better Off Friends was the first time the idea was put in my head. My editor, David Levithan, who's written a bunch of books. Yeah.
I love him. Well, books.
Yeah, he's awesome. So we were talking just about, I don't know, things. We live near each other. So we were taking the subway, and he said to me, it would be cool if you wrote a book about a guy and a girl best friend. He said kind of like a YA, a young adult version of When Harry Met Sally, which is this movie that came out years and years ago. And I was in the middle of writing another book at the time. I think I was writing Take a Bow at the time, and was starting to work on Revenge of the Girl with the Great Personality. So I just said to him, let me think about it. I'll get back to you. So over the course of a year, I kept thinking about who would these characters be. Not that guys and girls can't be friends, but what is it about these two people that make them best friends? And then I decided I really wanted, because in a lot of those books about a guy and a girl best friend, they always grew up next to each other. And I wanted it to be that I wanted the reader to see them meet for the first time. So I started thinking about certain things. And again, for a year, I just thought about Levi and McCallum. I just thought about them, what they would like, things that they have in common. Oh, is that a dog?
No, it's my sister moving chairs. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I was like, what's going on? So I just kind of thought about them, and then I just sat down and put all these note cards together about what I wanted to happen with them, and it came together really quickly once I figured them all out. But I was on an airplane thinking about McCallum and why she would be really close to Levi's family. And again, I didn't want it to be like they live next door to each other their entire lives. So all of a sudden I was like, oh, and I said out loud, on an airplane right before we took off. And, this is New York City, by the way, not a thing to, I said, oh, because the mom's dead. I said that out loud. And I literally, the woman next to me looked at me, and I said, oh, it's this book that I'm reading, but I was reading a magazine. Like, it just, the fact I didn't get kicked off that plane is pretty amazing. But when I realized that McCallan was, like, lost her mom, it made me realize that she was looking for a family and Levi was looking for a home, and that they both needed each other. So, yeah, I sometimes wonder if in looking back now, I'm thinking it was a way easier process than it was. But I just remember, because I spent a year just on the characters, that when I got down to write the book, I loved it. I was really proud of it.
I love the relationship, how it was going. Like, they didn't met when they were little. They met when they were in high school, junior high school.
They were they were in 7th grade, which here is like they were 11. Junior high.
Yeah, junior high. Yeah. I love that.
Yes, it was fun.
Yeah. Jonathan Middleton wants to know if Better Off Friends will have a second book.
So no. No. See, here's again I put those 2 kids through so much. I put them through so much that I can't even fathom what I could possibly do to torture them more for everybody's entertainment. I really love those characters and I think about them, but I also think that the book was written in a way that the little banter conversations they have between each chapter, you can interpret whatever you want of when that happened.
When I finished the book, I was looking for the series, for the BBC series. This is a thing. Is this a thing?
Yeah, I made that up. I knew I wanted them to have something really, really random and common, and I do like BBC shows. So I just decided to make my own up because it just would suit me better.
I thought it was real, and I was like, I want to see it. I want to watch it.
I've heard a couple of people say that, which makes me really happy that people think Buggy and Floyd existed. But yeah, I wish. But yeah, I can't imagine a scenario where I love those characters. That's why I can't do it to them again.
It's for the best.
Yeah, they ended up, I like how they ended. No need to mess with that.
So Ferdias asks, why did you decide to make McCallan and Levi fight each other so much?
To make them, sorry, what? Make them
fight so much. Fight each other.
Yeah. I feel like their relationship, they do get, a lot of it are just not talking to each other. So much can be solved by people just telling the truth. But I felt that it was very natural for them because they meet when they're 11. Mm-hmm. And when you're 11, you're very different than when you're 15, 16, which is when the book ends. They're 16. Yeah, they turn 16. So it's very much the growing pains that they have. They both kind of are a little bit lonely when they first meet. And then, she gets a boyfriend. He gets a girlfriend. He has his friends. And
I think it's realistic.
Yeah, and I feel like, that doesn't mean that they're not going to ever fight again, but that's just, you need that. You kind of need that. And they have really good banter and they tease each other, but it's very lovingly, but yeah.
I wanted to kill Levi sometimes. I was
Yeah, he was so dumb. He was so dumb. And I feel like he knew he was dumb, though. Like, even when he was doing these things, he was a little like, yeah. But, yeah. He's a boy. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, men watching. Love you.
So, Lucia Chen wants to know, how hard it was to publish your books? You expected to receive that kind of success?
No. I mean, the fact that, when you write, especially if you write your first book, you write it for yourself and you have no expectations at all if it's going to ever get published. So, especially with Lonely Hearts Club, I wrote 17 drafts of that book over the course of 5 years. But I wrote it for myself because I just didn't know if it was going to be published. And then when it was going to be published here, I was like, yay. And then when I found out that other countries were going to publish it, was just so surreal. And I have to say my Spanish language readers have been amazing. And I always joke, like, I'm huge in Spain, I'm huge in Mexico. Like this weekend, I was with my family and I found out that We Can Work It Out was a bestseller in Peru. And so Yeah, my sis. Yeah, a reader told me that. Like this is where I want to say that authors are usually the last to know about things. So a reader told me on Facebook that it was in the top 20, and I was like, it is, and she confirmed it for me. And so when I was with my family, I kept saying, excuse me, I'm huge in Peru, okay? Like, there's a big joke. But yeah, my Spanish language readers have been so supportive, and you know, you don't really know much, but it was from getting messages on Twitter, and especially like today I got a couple from people from Mexico because they're just reading We Can Work It Out Now, and it's amazing. Like I can't, it's hard to comprehend. You know, I get the books when they come out, and you hope people read them. So it's really, I can only work on what's actually in the book, but the fact that like readers have responded to it, it's amazing. But to answer the first part about how hard it is to get published, in the United States, I don't know how it is elsewhere, but you have to have an agent. So that's someone who shops your book around to publishers. And I had worked in publishing, so people knew me, which was a good thing, I guess. I don't know. Well, I guess good. I mean, I got published. But I did have to, again, write so many drafts of the book. And then when David Levithan became my editor, I worked with him on it. And he's been my editor on all of my books so far. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. We're really good friends. I just moved to a new apartment not long ago. He comes over to do laundry.
Wow.
So if only he was here today, I could be like, say hi, but he is not.
Oh, that's bad. I wanted to meet him. I think he's coming to Guadalajara. Is
he? Oh, I'm jealous.
I think. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I think
so mad.
So if he's coming, I will meet him.
Okay. And tell him we're like best friends. He will not be surprised. I really want to go to that. Was that the FIL thing? Everybody asked me.
You should come.
I wish it was up to me. I mean, I'd book a plane ticket tomorrow. Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness. All right. I'm now jealous of David. I'm gonna text him when we're done and yell at him. Or I'll just ask to go in his luggage.
That's nice.
I'll do that.
That's a good idea.
There you go.
Okay, so Andrea Valesca wants to know if there's a movie adaptation of one of your books in future plans. Also, which one of your books would you like the most to see in the big screen?
So one of my books is currently under option, but I'm not allowed to talk about it.
I bet it is this one, The Lonely Hearts Club. I don't know. I bet.
I can't say.
Okay.
I have to say, so Better Off Friends I think would make a difficult movie because you look different when you're 11 than you do when you're 16. So they would, I think, have to get two different actors to play Levi and McKellen because I don't know. But I feel like we could work Lonely Hearts Club would be good, as well as Take a Bow. So Take a Bow is my performing arts high school book, which I think it's a very well-contained story as much as Lonely Hearts Club. So those are the two that I would have, that I would like to see the most.
Okay. So Luis Hernandez wants to know, what is your favorite classic book?
Oh, my favorite classic book would have to be Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. And I did, one of my books is that's not published in Spanish. I'm sorry. It's not up to me.
It's okay.
No, I know, it's so funny. People get mad. I did a retelling of Pride and Prejudice called Prom and Prejudice. And the reason why I think that book hasn't been translated as many places is because prom is a very American thing. So
here we don't really have that.
Yeah, so
I wish we had that sort of thing.
It's, but you have quinceañeras, right?
Yeah. I didn't have a quinceañera. I instead chose to travel to Europe.
Oh, that's way better.
Yeah, for a month.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically you get to wear a fancy dress. But I have to tell you, I was stressed about prom. Again, all through high school. What if I don't get asked? What if I don't go? And I went, and I had fun. But did it change my life? No. Sorry, prom date. It was fine. I had a good time.
Okay, so Viviana Valdenebro asks, to which one of your characters do you relate the most and why?
Um, it would probably be either Penny Lane, as I mentioned, all the heartbreak stuff, or McCallan. McCallan is I'm very protective of my family, like McCallan is. I actually have an uncle, so the Uncle Adam character is based off my Uncle Peter. And so I'm the kind of person, if I was somewhere and someone said something kind of rude to me, I would most likely ignore it. Oh, but if you say something about my uncle or a family member, I said to my mom recently, I said, I'm not a very confrontational person. And she laughed and was like, what, you? Yes, you are. It's mostly because she sees me. If someone says something, she was in my high school. She was my librarian. And someone picked on her one day, and I went all McCallan on them. I was like, oh, no, you don't. But yeah, but McCallan is her fierceness for her family.
Yeah, I
Is,
love that part of her.
yeah, that she just kind of wouldn't put up with anybody. Yeah, that comes from me. So.
It's awesome. So Laura Fuentes wants to know what is your inspiration when you are writing your book? Or what inspires you?
Um, a lot of different things do. It depends. It's funny because books take a really long time to come out after you're done writing them. So it's been a year and a half since I've worked on We Can Work It Out. Yes. And so I'm trying to think about that. I will say that was the hardest book for me to write because it's the first
Really?
book. Well, it's the first book that I wrote that I knew people would have ideas of what they wanted. So there were 2 times, those of you who read it will probably know where, that I was writing it being like, oh, this is going to make people mad.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of knew what the expectations were going to be, and it messed me up a bit for a while. I froze writing it, which never happened to me before. But I spent a really long time looking at characters, and what inspires me is I just think, what if? I think about the characters, and I think, what do they want? What to do to get it in their way? And readers inspire me a lot. Like, I want to make sure all my female characters are very strong because I don't want any girl out there to think ever that, oh, well, I don't have a boyfriend, so therefore, like, why go on? Like, think that they're a freak. I mean, there's so many more important things than being in a relationship. And so as long as you're happy with yourself and have a really great support system of friends, then you're going to be okay. So I always keep that in mind when I'm writing. And I try to be funny. Like, I don't want to bore myself when I write. So I'm always, if I'm getting a little like, oh, I don't want to write this scene, I have to think why and then try to make it better.
Thank you. So Viri Ramirez asks, which one of your books is your favorite?
Oh, that's so hard.
Yeah, I know.
I know. It's funny. When I have people ask, like, oh, I haven't read one of your books, which one should I start with? I do say that I think The Lonely Hearts Club is the most me book, but I think so far Better Off Friends is my best book. So that's, yeah. So, but I also Take a Bow I love music, and that book has a lot to do with music. And the character of Emmy is very much like me as well in certain ways. So, yeah. So you like how I've written 6 books and I said 3 of them. So there you go. Wait, no, this is when I get confused. Wait, I'm looking. This is awful. You know what I just had to do? This is hilarious. I just had to be like, right, I've written 6, right? I had to go look and count. That's hilarious. That's hilarious because I'm like, wait, what, 6? Yes.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Well, I'm working on 3 different ones right now, so that's why.
Yeah, that's awesome. How did you cope with that?
Well, so one of the books is I'm writing a 3-book series for younger readers. So the
like
first,
middle grade?
Yeah, middle grade. Yeah, so I'm writing that. It's called The Great Shelby Holmes. It's my reimagining of Sherlock Holmes. So in my world, Sherlock is a 9-year-old girl who's and my Watson's an 11-year-old boy. They're a lot of fun. So the first book I'm editing and writing the second book in the series. But don't worry. So that book's coming out in the U.S. next fall, so a year from now in September, first book. But my next young adult book I'm working on as well. So that's not coming out for a little bit longer in the United States. It's coming out spring 2017. And I know that it seems really far away.
It's far away.
But it seems, well, I'm not done writing it yet. So, but it will be here before we know it. And I can't talk. I don't know how much I can say about that. It hasn't been announced yet what it is, but I'm really, really excited. David thinks it's my best book yet.
Wow.
So we'll see. He's only read half of it because only half of it's written.
I've been looking forward to that book.
So I know it seems so far away, but I feel like in 18 months we'll be back here doing this chat, and I'll be like, remember, it's not that so far away.
Hopefully we'll be here again.
Yes, I hope so. I think so.
Me too. So Alejandro Boguel wants to know, who would you prefer as a boyfriend, Ryan or Levi?
Oh, Ryan! I'm sorry, Levi. Yes,
I was like Ryan. Obviously.
Yeah, no, Ryan's my first crush, my first fictional boyfriend that I wrote. So he was my ideal, and he still remains my ideal. And so Ryan for sure. No offense, Levi. Levi's great, but
Yeah. And about that, Nadia Garduño wants to know if you inspired on someone to write Ryan, or did you create him yourself?
I wish. No, he was all in here.
He doesn't exist.
He doesn't exist. I wish. I wish Ryan did. He doesn't. And I have to say, and I think the reason why Levi is the way he is because, no one's perfect, and a lot of books feature the perfect guy, and that doesn't really exist because that's not fair to anybody. So I think as my writing goes along, I make sure that my guys have more flaws than Ryan has.
Ryan is almost perfect.
Oh yeah, he is. He's pretty good. But yeah, love me some Ryan. Oh, I will tell you this. So his last name, I've always liked the name Ryan, but his last name is Bauer from Jack Bauer from 24. Do you guys have that with Kiefer Sutherland?
I don't know.
It was a TV show with Kiefer Sutherland called 24. And the name Bauer comes from that because I love that show.
Nice. Okay, so Lizzie Moreno wants to know, what advice would you give to all the young people that want to write a book someday? And what is the most difficult thing about being a writer?
Well, first, just don't give up. There were many times that so in writing draft 17 of Lonely Hearts Club, so this is before I had a publisher, I did have an agent, I almost gave up on the book, and I know I did, and I know it's easy for me to say this now since everything else has happened, but I really did. I was just really frustrated. I've been working on it for so long and just thought it's never going to be good enough. I've wasted all this time. So it was a Sunday night. I wanted to order some Chinese food and watch this show called The Amazing Race. It's a reality show. And I was really tired, and I started crying, and I called a friend and said, I said, it's a true story, I said I was going to give up writing it, and she said, she read a version. She's like, just, you got to keep going. You've come this far. And I remember sitting there on my couch thinking, I'm going to give up. But then I thought, you know what? Let me just do one more round. And I did it. And earlier I mentioned about how I danced around a revolution. I didn't this time. I was really mad. And I turned it in, and I kind of threw my, stuff around. And that was a Sunday night. On Wednesday morning, my agent emailed me and said, congratulations, we finally have a draft to send to publishers.
Oh my God.
And I just think about how I really almost just gave up. And so the reason why I like to say this is because it's easy to see me now, I'm showered. Usually I'm not. Writers, you just don't have. But, that I have these foreign edition of my books, and I've written these books, and, I'm huge in Peru. I'm huge in Mexico too. But it's really, it's easy to give up because it's frustrating. It isn't easy to write. Right now I'm working on the first Shelby Holmes book, and my editor is picking apart line by line, and some lines she's like, this needs to be funnier, not like, just you're missing stuff. And you just have to believe in yourself. So besides that, I would spend a lot of time focusing on your characters. That's what I do before I write a single thing or before I even outline. I figure out who these characters are, what they want, what's their goal, what's the purpose of this book, what's the arc that's going to happen, and fill it in from there. And a lot of times I get surprised along the way. But if you know your characters really well, they end up surprising you. And I've heard authors say that before I started writing, that like a character decided to do something different. And it happens when you know these characters so well. So, some people outline, some people don't. David just writes without an idea where he's going. I need to know where I'm going. So I write little index cards that kind of just help me decide like how I'm going to get to the end. And just don't give up, and give yourself goals every week or every month if you're stuck. I have deadlines that my publishers give me that I have to stick to, but I give myself personal ones as well. So, today I had to edit 25 pages, and that's what I did, and I wasn't allowed to do anything until I did it. And, it's amazing to be able to sit here and be able to be a writer, but it's not easy, so just stay with it. Okay, sorry, that was long.
Thank you. No, it was really nice advice. Thank you. No. Okay, so Luisa Corcho wants to know, what has been the longest writer's block you have had? In what book?
So the Lonely Hearts Club, I sat down to write not knowing I knew the girl was named Penny Lane. I knew that her parents were Beatles fans, and I knew she was going to form a club called the Lonely Hearts Club and stop dating boys. Like, that's what I sat down with, all right? And I sat down, I was like, oh, like, why did she make this decision? What happened to her to make her do this? And, like, what are her friends like? Would they do this? And so I didn't think anything through. So, I mean, that book took the longest to write just because I didn't know what I was doing. And now, because I just, I spend a lot of, as I said before, time with characters, and I outline things, so I, like, don't sit down not knowing what I'm going to be doing that day. I just think about things. As I'm outlining a book, I have little index cards I just write things on, and then I just sit down and put them in order of what's going to work, and then I'll see if there's a block, and then I just think about things. So there have been times I've been stuck on a certain, like, plot point or idea, and I will call a friend and talk it through, because a lot of times that just helps you solve the problem. But whenever you're stuck, you just think like how, what, why, where, when, por qué, and
Yes.
por qué, por qué, de donde, but you just kind of have to think about things. I don't sit in front of a blank page if I'm stuck. I will go do something. I will go for a walk. I will do something and not think about it, because I guarantee that at some point it pops into my head. It always happens. Usually I'm on the elliptical at the gym, like that's that machine that does this, and I'm like bored, listening to music, and then an idea will pop in my head. So yeah, right. It happens to everybody, but yeah, you can do it. You can do it.
Okay, so they are telling me we only have like 7 minutes left.
Oh, okay, I'll be quick.
Okay. Vivita Nunez wants to know, what is the book that made you fall in love with literature?
Oh, when I was little, there was a series called Betsy Tacy by Maud Hart Lovelace. It's a United States thing, but those books I loved, and I read them all, and those were, my first books that I really loved. Okay, so another question. Mila Pinzano wants to know if you plan to write a fantasy book someday. Oh, never say never, but probably not. I enjoy reading them. I think it takes a very special mind to world building, like, total world building. I've had ideas that have a fantastical element, but I can't imagine. Maybe someday, but probably not.
I think that it's complicated. It's more complicated than fantasy.
Yeah, it's, you know, you have to make your own rules, which can be cool, but then you have to follow them.
And then some people can be angry about that.
Oh yeah, no,
That-
yeah. It's just, yeah. I would be very intimidated to do that. Other people do it way better than I could.
Yeah. No, I think there are amazing minds around the world.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Okay, so Emmanuel Milarma asked if you are currently writing a new book, but you already told us you are writing 3. Wow. So, one last question. I had one here. Sabrina Diaz asked, how do you feel about the fact that you are an inspiration to many young ladies?
Oh my goodness. I don't think about it that often. It feels great. I mean, I have to say my readers inspire me a lot as well. I mean, there are days where, you know, especially writing Lonely Hearts Club, the character of Penny, you know, especially when I'm going through a breakup or something with boys being dumb, I'll have readers who have said to me, like, one reader sent me a letter saying that that book helped stop the tears at night. And I just remember being like, sometimes it does as well. Like, I will sometimes do something and think Penny Lane Bloom would not support this. Like, get your act together. Penny would not have time for this, Elizabeth. So it really means a lot to me that readers have reacted to the books and the characters that I've written. It's incredible. And I have to say again that my readers just mean so much to me. My Spanish language readers, I'm not just saying this because my wonderful Mexican publisher put this together, but have been, when I go through my Instagram feed and I do stalk myself, I always say to people, I go, look, and I hit the hashtag of my name, and 90% of what comes up are my Spanish language books. People taking pictures of my books and everything, and it's amazing, and I like to look at it because it just reminds me that there are people out there, because writing can be a very solitary thing. I'm just like in this room all day, you know, working, and so my readers inspire me, so it's nice to know that I inspire them as well. So thank you.
Thank you. And one last question is by Noemi Baldi, and she wants to know, when did you decide you wanted to be a writer? Can you tell us how everything started?
Yes, I always liked telling myself stories when I was little. I liked reading, but I didn't think I could be a writer because I just didn't think that was a job. You know, the internet didn't exist when I was little, so you know, you couldn't do these things with authors. You couldn't talk to them on Twitter or Facebook, and so I just didn't think it was a possibility. But I always thought, like, oh, I'd want to write a story about this, and then I started working in publishing. And I got to work with some awesome authors, like I'm going to name drop now, J.K. Rowling, whatever,
Yeah.
no big deal, whatever. What? Yeah, what? No big deal. Awesome. But, you know, and I would see these awesome, amazing authors and be really intimidated by them. But there is an author by the name of Dave Pilkey. He writes this series called Captain Underpants. I don't know. I know they have it in Spanish. I don't know how it's translated. But, he was the first one to say to me, you're really funny. Have you ever thought about writing a book? And I'd been so scared to start. Like, I kept giving myself many reasons why I shouldn't write a book. I didn't know what I was doing. I wouldn't have time. What if nobody wanted to read it? And instead of just making up excuses, he was the first person to say, no, sit down, you're writing a book. And I said, okay. And then 5 years later, the Lonely Hearts Club came out. So, yeah, so he really inspired me, and I'm very appreciative for his friendship and his encouragement. So, yeah. But, yeah, I just didn't think I could do it. But anybody can be a writer. I am proof of that.
Thank you. I think that was it because it's already 6 o'clock.
Okay.
The publishers are messaging me. So.
Oh, yes. Well,
okay.
Thank you. I want to make sure I say thank you to everybody who sent in questions. They were awesome, and thank you, Clau, for doing this.
Oh, thank you.
And my Mexican publisher for doing Random House Penguin for doing such a great job. And yay, sorry.
For inviting us.
Yes, for setting this all up. I was so excited to do it. So, and hopefully someday I will get to meet everybody in person. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Yeah.
Okay, so that's it, and now I'm gonna remind them of the giveaway.
Yes, great.
Pues eso es todo por ahora. Espero que les haya gustado el Hangout, se han divertido muchísimo. Yo me la pasé muy bien y creo que Elizabeth también se la pasó muy bien. Solamente les quiero recordar que ya pueden pasar al Twitter de Penguin Random House a Me Gusta Leer Mex, creo que sí es. Ahí van a estar sorteando 3 libros de autora, estos 3 que tengo aquí, por si les interesa ganárselos. Y pues sí, ahora sí creo que ya es todo y nos veremos luego. Ya me despido. Hasta luego. Bye.